So we just got a fantastic game between Australia and South Africa in the Rugby Championship. Let's take a look at what happened and at some of the stats. So Australia started quick. We're around the 2nd minute. They scored their first try of the game through Mick Wright. Some nice play down the right-hand side of the pitch. Some good forward play, and then open up a nice little wee gap right in front of the line to let Mick Wright go over and score, making it 7-0. And a couple minutes later, in the 5th minute, Australia got a penalty to make it 10-0. There wasn't much scoring after that until about the 22nd minute when South Africa got a penalty to make it 10-3. Pollard got to a cross after missing a penalty a few minutes earlier. Then around the 38th minute, South Africa had a good maul, which led to some nice back play and found its way to Mapimpi, who ran towards the line, leaped for it, and was successfully tackled. Now, there's been a lot of controversy around whether this was a legal tackle or not. There was 2 points. One of them was whether he wrapped his arm in the tackle and whether he was actually allowed to tackle him because he was in the air. Personally, I think if you're holding the ball and actively jumping, it's your fault you're in the air, and that should be a legal tackle. If you don't want to be tackled in the air while you're holding the ball, don't jump into the air for the ball. I think it's different if you're trying to get the ball from a kick or a high pass. But if you're holding the ball already and then jump, you're putting yourself into a dangerous position, and that's on you. So I don't think that should count as a penalty. The second one, again, with the leap, you're not expecting someone to be up here when you're trying to tackle them. So I think where he was going into to tackle a player was where a player should be, and so there was an attempt to wrap for if the player was where they should be, not jumping with the ball, which you're not really allowed to do. It's not specifically stated in the laws, but it is normally classified as dangerous play, jumping into a tackler. So I think it was a perfectly legal tackle. So this left it at 10-3 at halftime. At the start of halftime, in the 46th minute, Australia gets another try. It was a nice bit of play down the right. See, because it was Tom Wright who was running down the right side of the. And then the ball came inside to Corabetti, who managed to get over and score, making it 15-3. Then around the 56th minute, Lolesio finds a gap, gets through it, and does a nice little flick pass to Mick Wright, who scores his second try of the game, making it 22-3, and Australia are looking like they're smashing South Africa at this point. In the 63rd minute, it's a penalty to Australia to make it 25-3. Australia then after this turned down a couple opportunities to kick for goal to maintain that 3-try advantage, which is what you need in the Rugby Championship for a bonus point. And they could have just kept ticking over and got a few more points and potentially got a bonus point out of this game if they'd done that. But they didn't. They tried to go for the corner and neither of them came out. Then on the 75th minute, Quagga Smith scored a try for South Africa, and he also did on the 80th minute as well. This led to the score ending at 25-17 to Australia. So in this game, even though Australia won, South Africa had more meters ran. South Africa had 424 meters to Australia's 266. South Africa also had slightly more possession, 52-48, but it's pretty much the same. And it was a 50-50 split in territory. South Africa did have more defenders beaten than Australia, with 24 to Australia's 14, but you should expect that with more meters ran, and had 7 clean breaks to Australia's 3. Australia actually kind of came out on top in the scrum, winning 7 of their 8, whereas South Africa only won 6 of their 8, meaning Australia won more of South Africa's scrums than South Africa did Australia's scrums. When it came to tackle success rate, Australia had 80%, which is not great. You really want to see higher than that at this level. And South Africa had 88%, which is pretty good, but you do want to try and hit those 90s in international rugby. Australia actually conceded 15 penalties to South Africa's at 9, which is really high. South Africa are kind of at the upper limit of where you want to be for penalties in that single digit area, whereas 15 is quite a lot of penalties to concede for Australia. And Australia won 7 out of 13 of their lineouts, whereas South Africa won 8 out of 10 of their lineouts. Now, if you want to see my review of the Argentina versus New Zealand game, you can check that out right here. Thanks for watching.